Okay, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be going over carbohydrates and fat loss and everything you need to know. Do they hinder fat loss? Do they support your fat loss goals? We're going to dive in and kind of break it down on my impressive whiteboard display and hopefully clear a few things up for you guys. So firstly, what is a carbohydrate? So it is one of the main macronutrients. You have protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and it is our body's primary fuel source in our diet, okay? There are 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrates, 4 calories in a gram of protein, and 9 calories in a gram of fat. You often see 449. You probably don't see it, but I see it all the time. So do they help us or do they hinder us when it comes to fat loss? We have 2 different types of carbohydrates. I'm going to try and keep this kind of simple for everybody and even simple for me. The more you try and complicate this stuff, the average person will just check out. So simple carbs, complex carbs. Simple carbohydrates are digested quickly into the bloodstream, blood sugar increase, and then we have complex carbohydrates, which ideally are digested a little bit slower. Think sweets, fruit, fructose, things that are easy to eat. And then think with complex, sweet potato, brown rice, all of that fun stuff. These are digested slower, these are digested quicker, straightforward. But remember, from a calorie perspective, which is all we care about with fat loss, they are still 4 calories per gram. Doesn't matter if you eat 50 grams of carbohydrates from fruit or Haribo's, whatever, or 50 grams of carbohydrates from brown rice, it's still 50 grams of carbohydrates. Obviously, one can make you hungrier quicker, one can help you stay fuller for longer, but it doesn't mean you're not going to eat. So bear that in mind. Now, what is their role in a fat loss phase? As we said, carbohydrates give us energy. They're going to support us in our training. They can help with muscle recovery. When I say support us in our training, they can literally be the difference between a good workout and a bad workout. We all know that feeling when you go into the gym, you feel depleted and you feel empty. You're going to have terrible workout. Terrible workout is going to lead to maybe a decrease in muscle, which is going to play a huge role in overall fat loss. So carbohydrates play a huge role. They're just as important as protein. Now, meal timing, carbohydrate timing. We've often heard people talk about you can't eat carbohydrates in the evening as they store body fat, or time them in the morning, and then we shouldn't have carbohydrates at breakfast. There's so many different things that people say. But what we need to understand is that from a fat loss perspective, as it's all about calories, it doesn't actually matter when we eat our carbohydrates. If you train first thing in the morning, you might want to have carbohydrates, some simple carbohydrates first thing in the morning. If you train later on in the evening, maybe you're someone that's going to fast in the morning or have a low carbohydrate breakfast so you can have your carbohydrates later on. But it makes sense when it comes to losing weight to time our carbohydrates around our training window. So if you train in the morning, a little bit before, a little bit after, or maybe during. If you train in the evening, you obviously want to save your carbohydrates for later on. But meal timing does not matter. It doesn't matter if you have them all in the morning. If you have 200 grams of carbohydrates in a day, you have them all first thing in the morning, all last thing before bed, over a 24-hour period, it is the same. So it's all personal preference there. Carbs make me fat. Do carbohydrates make you fat? We've all heard this one before. I don't eat carbs. If I just look at a carb, I gain weight. Not true. Too many calories make you gain body fat. I have got myself extremely lean. I've got hundreds of men and women lean over the last 3 to 4 years. They all ate carbohydrates in nearly every meal. It's the overall number of calories that have to come down. You often hear people talk about carbohydrates, you gain weight, or I ate a carb heavy meal last night. We have to think a gram of carbohydrates tends to carry about 3 to 4 grams of water. That's why they're called carbohydrates. Okay. So if you eat a carbohydrate heavy meal just before bed, that's going to come with some water retention. That could end up being an increase in scale weight in the morning, but it's just because you have more carbohydrates in your stomach as you've woken up. It doesn't mean you've gained body fat. And I want to try and make this clear here. So I've got a little chart here. We have 1800 calories here and we have 1800 calories here. Let's imagine we have me and my identical twin, Max 1 and Max 2. Max 1 has 1800 calories per day, 160 grams of protein, 180 grams of carbohydrates, and 50 grams of fat. It's around 1800 calories. Higher carb, lower fat. And then we have Max number 2, my identical twin, 160 grams of protein, only 90 grams of carbohydrates, but 90 grams of fat. Remember, 449, 449. So this this, pulling down those carbohydrates, increasing those fats, we're at 1800 calories again. If I did the same amount of training, the same amount of cardio, and the same amount of steps over a 1 week or 4 week period, I would lose exactly the same amount of fat. The same, because my protein is the same and my calories are the same. So it all comes down to personal preference. If you're somebody that loves oats, you love fruit, you love bread, you're somebody that's going to probably have more fun here and be able to stick to it long term. If you're somebody that, loves red meat, loves fatty fish, loves avocado, and some nuts in moderation, you're going to have more fun over here. Both of you are going to lose the same amount of weight, but I know for me, I like my carbohydrates. I would struggle to stick to this long term because I like having fruit in a diet. I like having my oats. So I know this would suit me more. But at the end of the day, guys, it all comes down to personal preference. Calories reign supreme. Carbohydrates can be used to help you with your training and ultimately help to stick to a plan long term.